This illustrates how important this issue is to each and every one of you. Governor Brown is so proud of this event because it's a grassroots event spurred by individuals, communities, the list of NGOs you just heard, and our tribal friends. And combined with the electeds like Governor Brown's support for breaching the 4 lower Snake River dams to save the salmon and to provide a food source for the orca, we're going to succeed. I am fully confident we're going to succeed. I wouldn't be here today if I didn't think we're going to succeed. But it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. I want to address 3 key points that are very, very dear to the governor. And they're all based on the premise that time is of the essence. Number 1, the salmon are in crisis. I want to address that. And the science is clear on it. Number 2, we need to address these cultural, social, and environmental injustices. Time is of the essence on that. And third, we need to develop a lasting, enduring, comprehensive fix to this problem. And time is of the essence on that because that's going to take politicians to stand up, take a position, and vote in favor of breaching those 4 Snake River dams. So first and foremost, the salmon are in crisis. And as I mentioned, the science is clear on this. Science has been clear for decades that the numbers are declining. There's a lot of you out there who know this, but I need to say it for some who are new to this subject. Prior to the Europeans coming in the mid-1800s, the average salmon runs coming up the Columbia past Astoria were between 9 and 17 million fish a year. 9 to 17 million, based on different ocean conditions or whatever, but it was enormous. We are now down to somewhere between 500,000 and 700,000 native salmon coming up the river past Astoria. 5% of the original runs. It's just a travesty. There are a lot of fish coming up the river that are hatchery fish, and that's great. That's a great bridge to help us get to a better future for the native wild fish. But the wild fish are down to about 5% of their run. And for those of you who may not know, those fish coming up the river are not all the same fish. They have different DNA. They are different stocks. Some spawn and rear down in the estuary streams and tributaries, some in the mid-Columbia area, some in the upper Columbia Snake and upper Snake. They are individual stocks. They're not interchangeable. You can't take a Snake River fish and say, sorry, too many dams, you can't get to your spawning ground, just use the estuary streams. It's in their DNA, millions of years of DNA, where they need to go to the Salmon River. So we need to open up that river for them. And time is of the essence because those stocks, in particular, the Snake River stocks, are on the brink of what the scientists are telling us is an extinction spiral. Without action, real action soon, we may lose those stocks. So time is of the essence on that front. You'll hear a lot of folks who support keeping the dams that they'll say the science is unsettled, or we need more studies. We need more studies to see if that's true. No, the science is settled. That's delay tactic. As an example, if you think about climate change, they're still arguing that we need more science on climate change. The fact of the matter is, in 1988, there was a Toronto conference on climate change where hundreds of the top scientists in the world got together, meteorologists, and concluded after that week that climate change was real and it was man-caused by burning fossil fuels. That was 1988. We still had to fight that fight for decades, and we're still fighting it now, where they use it as a delay tactic for more science. As I mentioned earlier, the tribal governments, not only with a history of fishing in this area, but they're fish biologists who also have masters and PhDs are some of the brightest people out there. They know these fish and they know the science and they know what's real. So we need to stop the debate on doing more studies. These fish are dying, the numbers continue to dwindle. It's time to move forward. Second point on the cultural, social, and environmental injustices, Governor Brown has been very clear that she recognizes the harms that have been done, the injustices that have been done, the lies and the broken promises. That has to change. Time is of the essence to address these injustices. As I mentioned earlier, we can't just say we're sorry for the past. We need to change how we operate, change our systems, change our politics to have a better future. And then thirdly, time is of the essence on a fix for the salmon and for the Snake River. We're in conversations with the Biden administration and the federal agencies. We're trying to build a comprehensive solution to this, including input from all the basin tribes and other states and other key stakeholders to fix what's going on. It's a comprehensive solution that will not only address and seek legislation to appropriate monies and authorize the breaching of those dams, but will deal with the blocked areas in the basin. Some of the Native American tribes who have long suffered over no fish at all because they're in a blocked area. It'll address the backlog of hatchery repairs and maintenance. There's over $1 billion of backlog on hatcheries, many of which are managed by individual states like Oregon, Washington, and Idaho, but many that are managed by Native American tribes. They've ignored pumping money into those hatcheries for decades, and the backlog is enormous. We need the Biden administration to put money on the table now to address those issues. And finally, we need to look at the services provided by those dams. You'll hear people say how critical they are to the future of Northwest power grid. They're not. Again, relying on good, sound science and engineering, we're able to demonstrate that although hydropower is quote unquote clean in terms of climate change, and it needs to be an important component of our climate change strategy. Of the 14 federal dams in the system, those 4 on the Snake River only provide a fraction of the needed power. And when you look at climate change, it's not just increased temperature in the atmosphere. That increased temperature in the atmosphere completely alters the water cycle. So we're going to see longer droughts, we're going to see less snow, and we're going to see warmer rains in the summer. The entire water cycle is going to become more unstable and unreliable. Why would you have 70% of your electric power source based on water turbines when water is going to be the number one uncertainty in the future? We need to expand our portfolio of clean energies, including wind, solar, offshore wind, green hydrogen. But most importantly, I want to raise this today because this is new. The state of California is investing in mega banks of batteries. I'm talking 4,000 megawatts already online, and they're looking at upping that to over 9,000 megawatts by next year. To put that in perspective, the lower Snake River dams provide 3,000. They're getting battery storage already at 4,000. Battery storage is critical because, as you can imagine, wind and the sun don't always show up. You got cloudy days, you got nights. You got windy days, you got calm days. But if you got batteries to store that energy and store it for upwards of a day, you can address the pulse cycle of demand in the system. This is a new technology. The Nez Perce tribe just put in a system on their reservation of battery storage to help them manage their electric system. It is here now. It's not a future hope of storage. That technology is here today and can help us solve this problem. So I urge all of you, and I'm so happy to see you're involved, you need to call your congressmen, call your senators. So the fish are in crisis. We need to fix this cultural and environmental injustice issue. That's a crisis. And we got some legislation that we need to pass and legislation we need to block. That is, time is of the essence. So Governor Brown thanks you all. She really appreciates this grassroots effort. She's 100% behind you, and she fully supports breaching the lower Snake River dams. Thank you.